Plaquemines Parish dodged the worst of Hurricane Ida, but oyster fishermen are finding more and more dead oyster beds smothered by mud and sediment pushed in by the storm. Digital producer Sam Winstrom reports.
As the sun rises on Empire, Louisiana, oyster fishermen are already on the water collecting today's harvest. On the surface, it looks like paradise, but under the water, Louisiana's oyster beds are hurting. Hurricane Ida dealt another blow to Louisiana's oyster industry. The storm pushed sediment and debris into the beds, smothering and killing oysters.
Estimate right now, we're looking at about a 40% loss in standing crop. But when you get further west, Lafourche, Jefferson, Terrebonne Parish, they really took the brunt of it. And I'm sure what they're finding over that way is a lot of devastation.
Third-generation oysterman Mitch Jurasich says this is another blow to Louisiana's oyster industry, already reeling from the BP oil spill and the prolonged Bonnie Carey spillway opening in 2019.
But we're hanging on by a thread now due to all of these disasters we've been getting. It's been setbacks, but we've been able to hang on.
It typically takes 3 years for oysters to bounce back, but it could be even longer in Louisiana's hardest hit areas.
And it's going to take them a few more years to recover. You know, even in the best case scenario, I don't know if 3 years will be what they're looking at. They may be looking at more like 5 to 8 years.
That timeline doesn't start on its own. The oyster beds will need to be rehabbed, something not every fisherman can afford. But that's where the Polar program comes in. Polar, or Private Oyster Lease Rehabilitation, was created after Hurricane Katrina. It pays fishermen to do that rehabilitation on their own.
It was a great program. It helped a lot of fishermen because they got paid. And it actually helped rehabilitate the oysteries because, you know, prior to the BP oil spill, we were rebounded pretty good. We were actually in some pretty good production. You know, we were back.
Jurasich thinks there's a good chance the program returns, but he's worried the government might not act fast enough.
It's times like this when fishermen can't wait. They need to get started. We need to get these reefs cleaned off. We need to get some fresh coach material in the water. We got to rehabilitate now to have any hope for 3 years down the line.
But just like Louisiana's oysters, Jurasich knows the industry will bounce back.
We're a resilient group of people. We don't give up. You know, as long as we got one oyster alive, we got hope.
Sam Winstrom, Eyewitness News.